Some places do not release what they take. Black Hollow is one of them. But sometimes, they send something back, not as a mercy, not as a warning, but as a signal. Months after the disappearance of Ethan, Lucas, Danny, and Mara, the Hollow grew quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that feels like a held breath, like anticipation. People in town tried to move on. They changed the names of trails. They planted new trees. They told themselves the forest was just a forest. But the Hollow does not forget. And it doesn't forgive. The first sign came from a man named Robert Hale, a surveyor, a practical man, a man who believed in maps, not myths. He entered the Hollow with a GPS unit, a thermal camera, and a confidence that bordered on arrogance. He walked the perimeter of the well. He took soil samples. He measured air density. He recorded humidity. Everything was normal, until it wasn't. At 2:14 p.m., his GPS malfunctioned. The coordinates looped, repeating the same numbers over and over like a stuck heartbeat. At 2:17 p.m., his thermal camera picked up a shape behind him. Tall, thin, motionless. He turned. Nothing was there. At 2:19 p.m., his audio recorder captured a whisper, a single word: stay. At 2:23 p.m., Robert Hale ran. He made it out of the forest. He made it to his truck. He made it home. But he did not speak for 3 days. When he finally did, his voice was flat, empty, like someone had scooped the emotion out of it. He said the forest had learned his name. He said it had repeated it back to him in a voice that wasn't his. He said the well was not a well. It was an opening, a throat, a place where sound went in and came out changed. He said something else too, something the sheriff refused to put in the report. He said he heard Mara, not her voice, her breathing. Slow, shallow, as if she were standing just behind him. But Mara was never found. 2 weeks later, a group of college students entered the Hollow. They were paranormal enthusiasts. They brought EMF meters, spirit boxes, infrared lights, and bravado. They set up near the well. They asked questions. They demanded signs. They treated the Hollow like a game. At 11:42 p.m., their EMF meters spiked. All at once. All in the same direction. At 11:43 p.m., their spirit box produced a voice. A woman's voice. Soft. Breathy. Broken. It said, "Don't answer it." The students laughed. They thought it was radio interference. At 11:44 p.m., the temperature dropped 30 degrees. Their breath turned white. Their equipment froze. At 11:45 p.m., the forest spoke again. Not through the spirit box, through the trees. A whisper that moved like wind, but wasn't wind. A whisper that circled them, studied them, chose one of them. It said a name, not one of theirs. A name none of them recognized. Mara. The students left. They left their equipment behind. They left their courage behind. They left the Hollow behind. But the Hollow did not leave them. One of the students, a girl named Lila, began sleepwalking. Her roommate found her standing in the hallway at 3:17 a.m. every night, always facing the same direction, always whispering the same word. Down. Another student, Mark, started hearing tapping on his window. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. He lived on the 4th floor. A third student, Jenna, began losing time. Minutes at first, then hours. She would come to standing in the shower with her clothes still on, or sitting in her car with the engine running and no memory of how she got there. All 3 students reported the same dream. A dream of a clearing, a ring of moss, a well that breathed, and a woman standing beside it, her back turned, her hair matted, her clothes torn, her posture wrong. When they called out to her, she turned, but she had no face. The sheriff tried to dismiss the reports. He said trauma spreads like mold. He said fear is contagious. But he didn't believe his own words, not after what he saw, because the sheriff had gone into the hollow too, quietly, alone, after midnight. He walked to the well. He stood at the edge. He listened. At first there was nothing, just the sound of his own breathing. Then, a second breath. Not his, not human. A slow inhale that seemed to come from below. He leaned closer, and the well whispered his name, not in a voice he recognized, but in a voice that recognized him. He left the forest. He never went back. But the hollow was not done. 3 months after the original disappearances, a hiker found something near the edge of the forest. Something small, something impossible. A shoe. A woman's shoe, covered in dirt, weathered, but intact. Inside the shoe was a scrap of fabric, torn, frayed, stained with something dark. DNA testing confirmed it belonged to Mara, but the shoe was found miles from where she vanished, miles from where any trail existed, miles from where any person could have walked without leaving footprints. The sheriff said it was planted, but he didn't say by who, or by what. The town grew restless. People whispered. People prayed. People avoided the forest. But the hollow does not need you to enter to reach you. It only needs your name, your grief, your missing pieces, and it learns them. Slowly, patiently, like a predator memorizing the heartbeat of its prey. Some nights, people say they hear calling from the hollow, not voices, not words, but something deeper. A resonance, a vibration, a low frequency that settles in the teeth and hums in the bones. A sound like something waking up, a sound like something remembering, a sound like something hungry. Black Hollow is not dormant. It is not finished. It is not satisfied. It is waiting, listening, learning. And whatever it took from Mara, it is not done with her. Not yet.